Alright guys, we have a special edition here on this channel where we are going to make our preseason NASCAR predictions. This is going to be for mainly the Cup Series, but we're going to throw a little bit of Xfinity and Gander Outdoor Truck Series here. As you can see, we're on the NASCAR website. But we are going to have fun with this one. I'm going to predict each race throughout the course of the season. Jot them down in the comments below if you want to follow along. And these are going to be my total season predictions for the Cup Series. First off, though, I'm going to start off with the Gander Outdoor Truck Series by predicting the champion of that season, as I'm going to take a season, or what is beginning to be a seasoned veteran. I'm going to take Brett Moffitt to win the championship in the Gander Outdoor Truck Series. And in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, we're going to take another seasoned veteran. I'm going to take Justin Allgaier. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Those are my two picks for those two series to win the championship. Now we're going to go race by race, including all the non-points races for the Cup Series. So we're going to start off with the Busch Clash this week, and I will do a video on this Sunday morning after practices. Maybe that might change my mind. All these are up to change because I will do weekly videos on pre-race predictions and fantasy advice as well for the NASCAR Fantasy Live app. So we're going to start it off. My prediction for the Busch Clash this Sunday, at least for right now in this video, and we're going to keep track of this week by week by week. Going to take Joey Logano to win the Clash this season. And I believe what is an 18-car field right now. So then we're going to go to the Daytona 500. My pick for the Daytona 500 is going to be, as of right now, my man Ryan Blaney. Is it biased? Maybe just a little bit. But he's performed pretty well on the play tracks recently. He won the last, Super Speedway now. But he won the last Super Speedway race at Talladega. We're going to take Ryan Blaney for right now at Daytona. Of course, obviously, all these picks are subject to change week to week. But it's just a special video I got lined up. So we're going to take Blaney. Blaney's going to clinch a playoff spot. He's going to be one of our 16 drivers in. Then in the next race at Las Vegas, back-to-back in the spring race, I'm going to take Joey Logano to win the Vegas race in the spring for the second year in a row, clinching his spot into the playoffs as well. The Auto Club Speedway for the Auto Club 400, going to take Kyle Busch to win his first race of the season here. He's going to clinch his spot into the playoffs as well. Another driver clinching his spot into the playoffs in week 4 at Phoenix International Raceway. It is going to be the 4-car of Kevin Harvick. I think Harvick's going to get it done. He's shown some great speed a lot lately, really, here at Phoenix. I think it's going to continue. So the trend of 4 different winners in the first 4 races is going to stop, because we're going to have not only our first repeat winner, but our first back-to-back winner on the season. As at Atlanta, we're going to take Kevin Harvick to win once again. Again, another track he's got great history at, and I think that's why he starts off strong at the beginning of the year as well here within these last maybe 3 to 5 years, because he goes to a lot of tracks he's not only won at, but has had very, very good success. Homestead Miami Speedway. This is no longer going to be the championship race weekend. This is going to be the 6th race of the year, in fact, for the Cup Series. And with the fact of that happening, obviously, when this race was in the championship 4, the winner of the race was the champion so far in the current playoff format that we have with the 16-driver knockout round style. And the guy that has not been in that championship portion of the playoffs to compete for the championship is Kyle Larson. Therefore, maybe that's why he hasn't won yet. So I'm going to take Kyle Larson to win at Homestead and lock himself into the playoffs. At Texas, we're going to go with Denny Hamlin to repeat in the spring, just like he did last spring when he won here. I think Kyle Busch is going to win his second race of the year when we go to the first Bristol race of the season on Sunday, April 5th. And on to Richmond. We're going to take Denny Hamlin to win the Richmond race. Hamlin, good short track racer, so right up his alley, as well as Kyle Busch, his teammate. But we're going to take Denny Hamlin to win at Richmond. That's going to be Denny Hamlin's second win of the season and a second win in a 3-race stretch. Talladega, another huge wild card race. It's the first time we go there and the only time in the regular season. And I'm going to take an upset winner to not only win this race, but therefore he would make the playoffs, as I'm taking Chris Buescher in the 17 as of right now. And the reason why I'm taking him, Fords have been pretty good at Talladega a lot recently. Again, we had a Ford win last year in the fall race, the last race we had at Talladega, and being Ryan Blaney. But the Roush Fenway engines, Roush ATN engines, Roush Fenway drivers, pretty much over the last decade have been almost, maybe not necessarily unstoppable at Talladega and Daytona, but very good at Talladega and Daytona. Ricky Stenhouse just 2 years ago won 2 races on super speedway tracks. One of them was this very race, the Geico 500 at Talladega. So I think Chris Buescher is going to keep that, I guess, somewhat of a trend going. I'm going to take Chris Buescher to win and lock himself into the playoffs at Talladega. And I think at Dover, it's going to be the guy that got his first career win there, Martin Truex Jr., locking himself into the playoffs at Dover, winning and solidifying himself in the playoffs. First ever Martinsville night race would be the following week. I'm going to take Brad Keselowski to win that race. He dominated the spring race. I don't think he's going to dominate as much as what he will, or as what he did last year. Obviously, a lot different conditions racing at nighttime. But we're going to take him to win it all. We're going to skip the All-Star Open. We don't know who's exactly going to be in those races. But in the actual All-Star race itself, we do know that this driver's already going to be racing in it because he won at Kentucky last season. We're going to take Kurt Busch to win the All-Star race this year. Back to the points-paying races as we go to a crown jewel event, the Coca-Cola 600, a race in which I will be attending this season. And I'm going to take Martin Truex Jr. to win his second race of the season. He's been pretty good here recently in the recent years. And in fact, Joe Gibbs Racing in general has been pretty awesome here as of late, dominating races. And I think Truex is going to dominate this one. Kansas Speedway will be the following race, and we're going to take Alex Bowman to win. He came so close with a runner-up finish there last year, performed pretty well in the mile-and-a-half track, especially in the summer months and the late going of the year. So we're going to take, on the last day of the month of May, Alex Bowman to clinch a playoff spot in Kansas. Another race in which I will be attending this year because it's my home track, Michigan International Speedway, and the Firekeepers Casino 400. I'm going to take Kurt Busch to win that race. Kurt came so close last year in this very race, finishing second. I think he's going to get the job done. He was gradually getting better, as I remember, in that race throughout the day. He came up just short, though, in an overtime finish. And I think this is going to be the better of the two races at Michigan over the course of the season. I think it's going to be Kurt Busch and another down-to-the-wire victory. In the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma Raceway, I'm going to take William Byron to get his first career win. Byron showed some great strengths on the road courses, including Sonoma, when he did win both stages in the race. It was a little bit different strategy he's going to have to probably stay on to win the race, so maybe he will have to give up the stage wins, but I think he does have a possibility to get the win at Sonoma. Road course races are such track position style races. There's a lot of guys that I really thought have a chance to win this, but we're going to go out on the limb and say Byron's going to get his first career win here in his third season in the Cup Series. Chicagoland, a guy that has been pretty well there, finished second back-to-back years now at Chicagoland. I think he's going to finally get the win that he has much so deserved at the Chicagoland Speedway. I'm going to take Kyle Larson winning his second race of the season up to this point. First of two races in a double header at Pocono this race weekend. I will be showing up for both races of that weekend, and I'm going to take the 95 car for Bob Levine and Levine Family Racing. I'm going to say that the 95 car, that organization, will get their first career win with Christopher Bell at the helm. Christopher Bell getting his first career win for Toyota. On the second day of the doubleheader, I think it's going to be Kyle Busch getting his third win of the season and making sure that he keeps a streak going of winning at Pocono at least once in a season. In the Brickyard 400, another crown jewel event, a race I attended a couple years ago, but will not be attending this year. It's going to be Brad Keselowski winning his second race of the season and his second of the last 3 years at Indy. At Kentucky, another track that I've been to in the past, I'm going to take Kyle Busch, a guy who started off his dominant reign there and then kind of hasn't won there in a little while. Finished so close last year, side-by-side battle with his brother for the final 2 laps in overtime, but we're going to take Kyle Busch winning his 4th race of the season at Kentucky. At New Hampshire, we're going to take Denny Hamlin to win the race. He came so close in a very great battle to the finish with Kevin Harvick last year. A couple bumps, a couple runs. Harvick got the job done, but we're going to say Hamlin's going to get it done for his 3rd win of the season this year. We're going to take Kevin Harvick in the 2nd Michigan race over the season. Harvick has won this race 2 years in a row, another race in which I will be attending. Again, it's my home track. And I do think Harvick will win for the 3rd year in a row in the 2nd Michigan race. We go to our final road course race of the regular season at Watkins Glen, a track that has been dominated by Chase Elliott as of late. And Chase Elliott will finally get his first win of the season at a track he has been dominating at the last few years and will continue to dominate likely into the future. And then on to Dover for the 2nd time. With only 2 races to go in the regular season, a driver that is somewhat on the border battle of trying to make it into the playoffs on points due to the fact that we have had so many different winners over the course of the season. I think Eric Jones will get his first win of the year, solidifying himself into the playoffs on the 2nd to last race of the regular season. On to Daytona for the 2nd race there, the final race of the regular season. Will we have another wild card winner like we did at Talladega and even Daytona for that matter? Or will we have another repeat winner? I think it will be another repeat winner, continuing a hot streak to end the regular season as he has the last few years. Chase Elliott will win his first career race at Daytona and win his 2nd race of the season. So my 16 drivers in the playoffs as follows. 15 of these drivers came in on wins, and those 15 include Ryan Blaney at Daytona, at Vegas, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch clinched at Fontana, Kevin Harvick at Phoenix, Kyle Larson at Miami, Texas was Denny Hamlin, Dega was Chris Buescher, Dover was Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski at Martinsville, Alex Bowman at Kansas, Kurt Busch at Michigan. At Sonoma, it was William Byron, so Byron's in the playoffs. Christopher Bell will be in after winning at Pocono. After a win at Watkins Glen, Chase Elliott will be in the playoffs, and Eric Jones will also be in the playoffs on wins. So those are the 15 drivers that made it on wins. The one driver I think that will make it on points will be Eric Almirola. It was a tough decision to make between him and his rookie Stewart-Haas teammate of Cole Custer. I almost forgot his name for some reason. But I don't think Custer's going to make it in his rookie season. I think he will just miss. He will be the 17th driver. And as for Jimmy Johnson goes, I just don't think he's going to win. I don't want to put my heart in saying he's going to get a win to get back into the playoffs. I think he's going to miss 2 years in a row in the final 2 years of his career. So we're going to go on to Darlington, Southern 500, kickstarting the playoffs. I will be there on Labor Day weekend. It should be a fun one at that. We're going to take the 11 team of Denny Hamlin. I think Denny Hamlin is going to win at Darlington and solidify himself into the round of 12. Also going to the round of 12, it'll be Martin Truex Jr. He will get the win at Richmond like he did a year ago in the spring race, but this time it will be more meaningful in the playoffs. He advances to the round of 12 on a win. And Eric Jones, a driver continuing a hot streak, and it will enter into the Bristol Night Race, a race in which he was up front until he had a problem late after getting passed by Matt DiBenedetto and ended up not finishing well. But I think he will take this year's Bristol Night Race, and it will be the final race of the round of 16. With that win, he will move on into the round of 12. So my round of 12 drivers as follows: Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and Eric Jones, all on wins. I think the other two Toyota drivers in the playoffs of Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell will get in as well. I think only two of the three Hendrick Motorsport drivers that made the playoffs will make the round of 12 of William Byron and Chase Elliott. Both Ganassi cars are going to make it to the round of 12 of Kyle Larson and Kurt Busch. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano will be the only two drivers from Penske making it into the playoffs in the round of 12, that is. And Kevin Harvick will be the only Stewart-Haas driver to make it into the round of 12. It was tough to not put my heart into it. I think Blaney's got a good shot to make a deep playoff run, but in my prediction here, I have him eliminated in the round of 16. So on to the round of 12, the South Point 400 at Las Vegas. Going to take Joey Logano to sweep the Vegas weekends this season. I think he's going to win his second race of the year and advance into the round of 8. At Talladega, I think a non-playoff driver is going to win this race, a guy that didn't even make it to the round of 16, into the first round of the playoffs. I think it'll be Jimmy Johnson winning his final race of his career in the 48 team. And the reason why I'm going strictly off of the fact that this is probably one of the only races he will have a good chance of winning is going to be at the super speedways. He'll have shots maybe here and there throughout the season, but these are going to be for sure. I think he'll make it through multiple big ones and have a shot to win it late, and I think he will win this race, which would mean that all three 7-time champions in the sport will win on super speedways for their final win of their career. Earnhardt and the Die Hard 500 in 2000. Richard Petty in the Daytona 500, or sorry, not the Firecracker 400 at Daytona, and now Jimmy Johnson, the Alabama 500 this coming year in 2020. I think that would be a pretty historic feat at that. In the Bank of America Roval 400, the third year at the Charlotte Roval, I think a guy that has turned himself into a road course ringer. I think Chase Elliott will win this race back-to-back years. I was at this race last year. It was a lot of fun. But this year, it is the end of the round of 12 instead of the round of 16. So Chase Elliott will win and advance to the round of 8. So advancing into the round of 8 are the two winners from this round that were playoff drivers, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano. And the other 6 on points will be Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Kurt Busch. A lot of young drivers in there, a good mix of young drivers and veterans that I think will make it into the round of 8. And a lot of Chevys at that. 2 Ganassi drivers and 2 Hendrick Motorsport drivers will make up the round of 8. Moving on, Kansas Speedway. We're going to take Kyle Busch to win his 5th race of the season. Ending almost a little over a 10-race losing streak, but he's going to come on strong late in the playoffs and solidify himself into the championship 4 in Phoenix. Going on to Texas now, I think Kevin Harvick will win the Texas race. He's been pretty good here in the playoffs recent years. I think he will continue that, win his 3rd race of the season, and advance to the championship 4 once again. I think Chase Elliott will make it into the championship 4 with a win at Martinsville, finally winning the grandfather clock. He's been close over the last few years. I think he'll get it done in the playoff race here in the final race of the round of 8 to move into the championship 4. And the final driver to get in on points into the championship, I think it'll be Kyle Larson due to the amount of times he has won over the course of the season. The playoff points and the stage wins he will have will pay huge dividends, and I think he is going to scrape in to the championship 4 at Phoenix. So the championship 4 as follows: Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Larson. And my prediction to win the race and the championship in 2020 is Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch will win his 6th race of the season at Phoenix. And I think Kyle Busch will win his third championship back-to-back. First driver to go back-to-back in the current playoff system since we started adding 16 drivers back in 2014. And I think he is going to win his third title, and the Kyle Busch reign will continue. Again, that's just my wild, crazy predictions for the course of the season. I had fun. Hopefully you guys did. Down below in the comment section, tell me who you think your champion will be for 2020 in the Cup Series, and really all three series. I want to see what your guys' opinions are. That is going to be all here for this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.